I read the piece this morning. Very interesting. Can you please define fake conservative?
Well, I got started in the Tea Party movement. There was this big rebellion in 2010, and it wasn't so much rebellion against Democrats. It was actually rebellion against fake conservatives. It was a rebellion against Republicans who grew the size of government, Republicans who doubled the debt, and also Republicans who voted for this bank bailout to bail out Wall Street and all this taxpayer money that was spent on the big banks. Conservatives were all opposed to that. And yet Donald Trump was for that. He was for Obamacare before he was against it. He's been for gun control before he's against it. He says the Clintons are great with the economy and Democrats are better with the economy. So I just think we ought to be very careful and ought to know who we're actually thinking about before people consider voting for him, because I really think he's a fake conservative. I don't think he's consistently been anything in his life other than a promoter of himself. So people have to really listen to him and decide what he really stands for.
Senator, one of the lines that jumped out of your piece was, quote, you're quoting you, we don't need another bully. We don't need a bully. We don't need another president who thinks he's king. What do you mean?
Well, I think all the bravado and all the, you're stupid kind of language, it doesn't really get us anywhere. But it also makes you think that that imperiousness, that he's just going to say, well, I'm Donald Trump and therefore it is so. And our government is built on sort of checks and balances, that we have co-equal branches. And one of my concerns, and one of the concerns of the Tea Party, frankly, has been that the executive branch has grown too strong. And I say, as I go around the country, we actually need to give power back to the legislature and back to the people respectively. And my concern is that he would grab up that power and really treat the country as sort of his little bully fiefdom. And I think that could be a real problem, particularly when we're not sure what his, what is his philosophy. He said to the Wall Street Journal, he said, I give politicians money so they'll do what the hell I tell them to do. That kind of concerns me, because that's what I don't like about Washington, that politicians are bought and sold. Hillary Clinton, many of us conservatives are upset with Hillary Clinton because she sells access, or appears to sell access. Well, my concern is also a businessman like Donald Trump buying access. Isn't that equally despicable?
Well, Senator, are you concerned that now that you've called Donald Trump out on this, a fake conservative, he's going to aim the guns at you? I mean, he's not afraid to take shots at anyone. And are you going to be the next target of Donald Trump?
It could be, but I think eventually it's going to wear thin. All this sort of false bravado and all this bluster. I mean, aren't people eventually going to say, does the emperor have any clothes, or does the emperor have a brain, frankly? I mean, people are going to finally say, what is he really saying when he says, well, I must be smart because I'm rich? Is that really a logical statement to make? Are we really going to accept that? So I think we're eventually going to look for something more significant, something more substantive. Let's talk about, we want government bigger or smaller. I want a smaller government. Donald Trump wants to raise taxes. Is that a conservative notion? Let's have a real debate over whether we want government bigger or smaller. But just calling people stupid or calling them fat or saying they're bleeding, are just such ridiculous statements that they really shouldn't even be countenanced.
And for some reason he's done things that would normally derail a presidential run. You think of Rick Perry a couple of years ago, one debate slip up and he was done. Howard Dean, one word out of his mouth and he's done. Yet Donald Trump seems to be bucking that trend. Quick thought.
I think it's because people are unhappy, but they need to realize that being unhappy is not enough. A lot of us are unhappy. I've been fighting the Washington machine for the past several years, trying to say enough's enough. They're spending too much money. We have to quit this. But it can't just be empty bombast. And I'm afraid that's what we're getting, is empty bombast. You're ugly, you're fat, you're stupid. That's not really a debate. Let's have a debate. Do we want government bigger or smaller? Do we want higher taxes or lower taxes? Do we want more regulation or less regulation? And then ask, has this person been for this consistently, or are they brand new to this and thinking that some sort of reality star shtick is going to get them elected president? I'm one who certainly hopes not.